Low quality fans of a high quality Bruins team. That is not a dub. Once again, we are on a West Coast trip, so I'm trying to be on the quieter side because it is currently 1 a.m. I have to wake up early for work as per the usual. I have no idea if I got a skit done for this video or not. If it got too late, I might have just called it. So I apologize if not. Damn, man, this one kind of bothers me. We're going to get into them. We're going to get into us. And we're going to talk about the game. But it's funny how I'll oftentimes put one of the game notes at the very beginning. And look, I guess going into this game, I started to really feel the effect of the injuries to the roster. The news came out that McAvoy is out indefinitely due to a surgery that was needed after taking that puck to the mouth. Poor guy, obviously. Like, this is, I don't want to sit here and be like, woe is me, my hockey team, when that guy's going through it right now. But woe is me, my hockey team, man. There are so many injuries. So many injuries. 1C, second left wing, second right wing, our number one defenseman, and our sixth defenseman. I would call Harris our sixth, maybe fifth, honestly, with the way this is shaping up. We haven't seen Harris in a while at this point. So I go into the game and I feel the weight of the injuries. And in my head, I'm like, okay, here's the new equation. Because obviously, previously when I was like, hey, anything above bottom 10 in the league, I would believe. And bottom 10 in the league, I'd be surprised if the Bruins landed there. Obviously, that has to do with health. If the whole season gets derailed by an unhealthy year, like last year, that's just the way the cookie crumbles, and all teams go through this. I mean, talk to the Devils fans about that. But the equation changes when you go to these games, and your thought process has to be like, we have to win the winnable games. Like, we really need to put pressure on ourselves to win the games that are there in front of us and able to be taken when we're unhealthy. And this was about as winnable a game as you're really going to get. Not exactly going into it for reasons that we're going to talk about, but once the game started and you quickly allowed 2 goals, and then you guys actually started playing hockey, you were the better team for like a huge portion of this one. And of course, late in the third, you weren't, which turns into the end of the game. But I'm just really frustrated, and I'm trying not to be, because again, optimism is necessary. There's a lot to enjoy about this team. There's a lot to feel good about. But you start to believe in them, the injuries pile up, and then they shoot themselves in the foot a bunch of times. And you go, okay, guys, well, that was winnable. Earning points while these guys are still on the bench or in the hospital bed is huge, because you want them to be able to come back and you still be in the playoff race. Now, of course, we're not out of the playoff race. Nothing really changes with this loss exactly. But we are going to come up on some games where we are just going to be outclassed, because we simply don't have the guys. And everyone can, next man up. And next man up is a great way to think about things. But that's more for the guys in the locker room. We don't have to pretend that Aspero on the top pairing is suddenly going to be, well, he's next man up. He's going to cover for McAvoy. He's got to cover for who? No, that's not the same. It's not going to be the same. We don't have to pretend it's going to be the same. So I guess I really am. This game did bug me, and I don't want it to bug me, and I'm trying to find more positives. But this one kind of got to me because it was so very winnable. So very winnable. And the Bruins just weren't ready for it. They honestly, there was a lot about this game, too, that just went wrong. Bad bounces. Most of the goals they scored were deflections on the way in. Poor crease clearing. Just not enough. Like, comment, subscribe. Nailed it. Check out the Discord. Check out the membership program for the YouTube channel for the high quality inspectors. Check out the social medias, I guess. Yeah. Let's talk about this Ducks team, shall we? The Ducks. It's the second meeting of the year. We had a barn burner with them late October to the tune of a 7-5 loss. I was unfortunately unable to see that one, but a lot of people told me that was actually more fortunate than I had believed it to be. The Ducks have been a really fun story. They currently lead the Pacific Division. Leo Carlson, 20 years old, has 26 points in 19 games. Cutter Gauthier, I want to say Gauthier every time. Gauthier, 21 years old, has 22 points in the same amount of games. 19-year-old Seneca looks like it won't take long for him to become an absolute beast in his own right. Kreider and Trouba are enjoying a revival to their careers, heavy on the Kreider as he's already at 10 goals on the season, coming off a year that was terrible. He's got that in 15 games played. DeStahl has been steady with a .903 save percentage and 2.8 goals allowed average. And depending on who you trust for this statistic, he's somewhere between 2.5 goals saved above expected or 9 goals saved above expected. It's a huge variance of that. Let's just remind everyone that that stat in particular isn't always a gotcha. People really like to bring that one out, and you're like, well, depending on the site you use, like Money Puck is super liberal with it. Their numbers are huge. Natural Stat Trick on the lower end. So, yeah, anyway, that's just a stat thing. They rank 16th on the power play, 23rd on the penalty kill, 2nd in goals for per game, and 21st in goals allowed, meaning their offense is doing a lot of the heavy lifting, but that's still fun as hell, so who cares? They have lost 3 of their last 4, so they are cooling off just a little bit, but this reads to me as a team that's going to have a lot of fluctuations this year. It's going to be really interesting to see where they end up. What I'm seeing here, and I'm wondering if this lesson is being taken. A few years back, the Buffalo Sabres had a very young team that was incredibly good offensively, but was terrible defensively. And they got close, but their season fell apart. They didn't end up making the playoffs, as we all know. The Ducks, although we of course don't know how the season's going to end for them, are in a similar situation. Now, look, I think they have more talented guys than that Sabres team did. I don't think that's a hot take. But the Sabres pivoted really hard into, we need defense, and we need to find it in every area. We need to make moves for our bottom 6. We need to change the coaching. They had to make a bunch of changes because all in their heads, well, we've got the offense. Now we just need to learn how to play defense and change our structure around that, and we'll have both, and then we'll be a playoff team and a contender. Instead, what they did is completely derail their progress. Now, of course, Buffalo's season isn't over either, and maybe they're going to find some real traction this year. Honestly, the East is such a shit show that I have no idea who's going to come out of it looking strong by the end of the year. But I wonder if Anaheim is sitting there going, well, let's not do what they did. Yes, this team needs to learn how to play defense. Yes, that's going to mean that some of their offensive stats are going to drop once they become a more competitive team night in, night out. Again, right now, they're leading their division, so this might be a really foolish thing to say in general. Just making these comparisons, because they are an extremely young team. I just think it's really worth watching them as they go forward to see what decisions they make, and if they really try to pivot into the defense and derail themselves, or if they simply go, nope, as we mature, we do have to be a little more reliable in that zone, but let's not chop off ourselves at the knees trying to make a change here. I don't know why that thought came to mind for me. I just compared them to the Sabres for that entire game. It just looks so similar to me. For the Bruins, Geeky, Huzdadinov, Pasta, Steve, Zaka, Blumel, Jeannot, Minton, Kostelic, VL, Corrali, Asimont, Zadorov, Aspro, Hampus, Yogi Haru, Lorai, Peak, Corpusalo. Really didn't expect Tufte to get taken out that quickly. Like, I understand, but also I don't understand. But that's fine, because it's not like I'm sitting here saying Tufte is way better than VL. I think they were trying to give VL a shot in the arm. It seemed to have worked. He had a pretty good game, I thought, for the amount of it he got to stay into it. Like I said, any win with Aspro on the top pair would just be huge. It really bums me that we lost this game. This is so winnable. God, this was so winnable. Beecher went claimed. The first team that was able to claim him in the order was Calgary, who grabbed him. I saw some people use that as an argument for, we'll see, like that's just poor asset management. Someone would have traded for him. Incorrect. He had no trade value. He was free. He's a 24-year-old somewhat recent first-round pick who's athletic as hell. That makes all the sense in the world for a team like Calgary to grab and take a flyer on and see if he can get his game back. That's just... Calgary sucks this year. Yeah, let me take this young past first-round pick. Let me see if he can be something. Great. Good for him. I hope it works out for him. I genuinely am rooting for Beecher, but we did this for years, and it wasn't working out. There was no one who was giving an asset for Beecher, by the way. I just don't understand that narrative at all. No one was trading for him. You can say poor asset management because of players we kept instead of Beecher. I won't argue with that, although I won't really agree with you fully. But no one was giving up assets to get Beecher from us. That just wasn't going to happen. As I mentioned already, McAvoy needs surgery. No timetable for return. Changes the vibes so very much for me. Elias is day-to-day currently. He's traveling with the team. The second-line wingers, Arvidsson and Middlestat, are still week-to-week, it looks like. And then Harris, who I think would be in the lineup if healthy. Yeah, I have no idea where he's at in his recovery. It seems to be at least a few more weeks for him as well. Let's talk about this game, shall we? Puck drops. Puck drops! Almost got loud for a second. 2:29 in. And this is about as brutal as you can look after 2 minutes. The Bruins can't stop turning the puck over, which they would do all night, by the way. They're late on their defensive assignments, which they'd be confused about all night, by the way. And they just look slow. And Anaheim is set up in our zone. After simply throwing the puck down the right wall from their own zone, it wraps all the way around. A Ducks player gets there 2 lengths ahead of the nearest Bruin to keep the puck cycling. Just, no one was engaged to start. No one. Steves does have a chance during this to make a clearance. He has the puck on his stick, and he turns it over, which is basically what he did all night as well. It'll end up on Nestorenko's stick as he skates into the high slot. He's going to rip a shot from there. It gets knocked down. It's collected by Johnston, who's on the blocker side of Korpisalo. He's going to swing this back into the crease. Korpisalo gets a piece of it, but then it deflects off of Harkins and in. It's 1-0 early. That's just a good bounce for the Ducks, but the Bruins just turning the puck over in their own zone and being late to every assignment certainly didn't help. And then about 6.5 minutes in, the Ducks work the puck low. Jokiharju pins Seneca to the boards. The puck is loose. The only player who goes for it is McTavish, who is under basically no pressure as he works this puck up to Gudas at the top of the slot, who is also basically under no pressure. He is going to fire this on net, and it deflects off Mitten and in, and it's 2-0. I saw a bunch of people getting on Korpisalo. So far, it's 2 deflections that have beaten him. Kind of worthwhile to mention that. Defensively, we were a shell for most of this. We allowed I understand the allowing them to play on the outside, but we allowed a ton of space. And it wasn't the typical man-on-man defense, which maybe they were trying to play man-on-man. I'm not saying that we diverted from that system. They were trying to, but with how much hesitation there was and looked like just general confusion, I think everyone just kind of shrunk in, and it allowed so much space all game. It's 2-0 early. It's such a winnable game. At this point, I was like, maybe this isn't a winnable game. And again, I didn't start the game by being like, this is super winnable, because it's the Ducks, because the Ducks have been a pretty good team so far. But then I watched the next 10 minutes, and the Bruins are all over them. They're all over them. And they'd be all over them for a huge portion of this game. They get so many scoring chances, even in this first period, which the first period ends, and the shots are, I'll double check this, 18-11 after the first period. It's frustrating to put yourself in that kind of hole just from lack of effort, from what it seemed to me. And then you have to try to, work your way out of it. And you do, but then it's too little too late. Anyway, 9:19 left. The Bruins' bottom 6 have created a little bit, but it has been largely ugly. Zacha goes for hooking. We're going to go to the penalty kill. Jeannot gets a breakaway off a Ducks turnover, kind of miscue on the blue line, and he's denied 5-hole for the shorthanded bid by Dostal. We kill it, and this really revs the engine for the Bruins, who start bringing a lot more pressure. 5:43 left, Hellison for cross-checking. We're going to go to the power play. 41 seconds later, the Ducks are allowing very easy entries, and which would also be a theme throughout the night. Basically, think of a poor defensive adjective or statement And that was, for one or both of the teams, a theme of the night. Just blanket statement there. The Bruins are set up in the zone on the power play. Hampus rips it from the top of the slot. Geekie tips it under the glove. Dostal gets a lot of it, but not enough, and it does squeak through for a power play goal. It's 2-1. They were crediting Blumel for a little while there. I never saw Blumel touch it. I don't think it's going to get back to him. It was Geekie's goal. 40 seconds left of the period. Steves and Zadorov break on a 2-on-0. And Steves is like saying pass the whole time. Like, it's so obvious that he's going to pass this. And he does. And Zadorov attempts to shoot it. Maybe against the grain is what his goal is, but he just shoots it center mass. It was hugely disappointing after the start of the game we had and how the last couple of minutes have been going for the Bruins. Just a bummer there. 27 seconds left. Vetrano and Steves are going to shed him. I have no clue really what happened here, but Vetrano gets the takedown. I didn't really see any punches be thrown for this one. Second period starts, and the Bruins are really going to be in control for a large portion of this. There is a moment, though, 11:04 left of the period. The Ducks are going to get into our zone, and McTavish backs into Korpisalo, knocking him down as a shot went by the net. The Ducks recover it, dish it to McTavish, who's now behind the net, and he gets to swoop around and dunk it as Korpisalo is trying to get up. They wave the goal. They don't, no one challenges it. We just move on. I can see, if I was a fan of the opposing team, I can see where I'm like, oh, that was soft contact, and then he went flying. I can't tell on this. I really can't. I don't know if this was a disingenuous fall or not. I'm betting I would have criticized it had I been a fan of the other side of this, but blinders are for everyone, and I'm just not willing to say I was right or wrong about any of that. 8:11 left. Lorai's going to go for tripping. We're going to go to the penalty kill. As the penalty is coming to an end, the Ducks win a board battle in the blocker side corner of our zone. They work the puck up to McTavish, who fires a hard wrister to Strome, standing 4 feet-ish from Korpisalo's blocker post, and it is a perfect tip. Top blocker. Didn't love Korpisalo's position at this. Even if he's in proper position, this might still get in. This is a hell of a tip. Crazy, crazy. 3-1, power play goal. We have a 2-goal deficit once again. 3:45 left. Minton, a breakaway. He puts it wide. I so badly want Minton to get a little bit of offense going. It's just going to make me feel so much better. Just a little bit. 1:33 left, right after a crazy tour of the O-zone by Zadorov, who literally just sprints by like 4 different defenders. It's actually pretty cool what he did. But the puck's going to get worked around and then cleared. Zadorov, who's skating back around out of the neutral zone, collects it in our own zone, and then ships it to Asamont, who's on the opposite side of the blue line, their blue line. And the Ducks just got caught too far forward of the neutral zone, probably going for a change. I actually didn't double check if there was actually a line change going on. But Asamont is going to go down the right side. He's got a 2-on-1 going. The pass is never there because Lacombe is sliding his little belly across the ice, blocking the whole passing lane. So Asamont goes, yeah, all right, waits for him to pass, scoots to his left, and then fires this low glove. Dostal's pissed. He doesn't get this one. But nice goal by Asamont. And it's 3-2. You feel pretty good about that late in the second period. You go into the third, and I thought we were winning the game. I was damn near certain. I was like, the Ducks are giving us chances. We're going to get another one. 2:13 in. VL tries to lead of the third period. VL tries to lead Asamont with a pass through the neutral zone, but he takes a hard knee-on-knee hit from Gudas. I don't understand. VL immediately jumps Gudas all over him. Gudas wraps him up and then basically slams him into the ice. I think it gave VL a concussion. I don't want to speculate too much, but VL needed to be helped to the locker room. That seemed also pretty purposeful, and Gudas is a dirtbag, so I wouldn't be that surprised. But also, Gudas could have just stood him up and pummeled him. He's a bigger dude, so I don't know. I don't know what I'm complaining about at this point. VL's going to get 2 minutes for instigating, 5 minutes for fighting, and a 10-minute misconduct. Gudas is going to get 5 minutes for fighting. Somehow the knee-on-knee hit, nothing. So we have to kill a penalty, which we do. 7:31 in. Harkins cross-checks Pasternak. We're going to the power play. 7 seconds later. Face-off win by Zacha. Lindholm walks the blue line, ships the puck over to Pasta, who's at the top of the blocker side circle. He's going to fire this into the slot. Geeky with a perfect tip, low glove. Yes, low glove. And it's going to be a tie game on a power play goal, 3-3. I just knew we were winning this game. I knew we were winning it. I knew it. 9 minutes left of the period. A perfectly executed 3-on-2 results in Geeky having a wide open blocker side of the net. And Dostal somehow springs across to get a piece of this. It's a huge save. And then Korpisalo has to do the same after a brutal Lori turnover on a McTavish breakaway. He's going to make a huge blocker save. And then about a minute later, the Bruins, as a unit, get completely turned around defensively. This would last for most of the rest of the game, by the way. They have no idea whose assignment is whose, and they are getting crossed up, leading to multiple scoring chances, high danger chances against Korpisalo. During this particular moment, about 7.5 minutes left, Korpisalo has to make a couple big saves, and anything he didn't stop was actually stopped by Kostelic, who's standing behind him and batting pucks away. That's how bad it got defensively. We survived that, though, until about 3.5 minutes left, where the Ducks get into our zone. Leo Carlson on the glove side wall feeds it to Moore at the center of the blue line. This is a long-distance shot. I don't know who it deflects off of, if it deflects off someone. There's multiple bodies in front of the net. Korpisalo, I don't think, ever really sees this. It's 4-3, and that's your final score. I'm so bummed. I'm so bummed. You can tell the energy is not what it usually is, also because it's 1 a.m., and that's what I've got right now. But this is so winnable. This is such a deeply winnable game. And it's not the kind of game that the Bruins don't have the luxury this year of looking back and being like, yeah, we let a couple of those go. Every point's going to matter. And yes, I am rooting for the playoffs. I've had a couple people reach out and be like, I'm surprised you want the team to win. What? Yes, I want the team to win. What do you mean? Like, if this team's going to be better than expected, I'd way prefer that. Tanking is an absolute dart throw at this point. It's not good. Look at some of the teams that have had to rebuild. Some will do it very quickly because they nail their drafts. No team has shown, though, that they truly understand the draft, right? Not for longer than a couple of years in a row. I don't think the Bruins should strip it all down and tank till they just are guaranteed, which they're not, a first overall pick. If this team's going to be better and it can build something that's greater than the sum of its parts, that's what I'd prefer. I want them to stay in the picture because I think this team would suck to play against in the playoffs. Would they beat you? Maybe not. I definitely think there's half dozen teams I would easily choose in front of the Bruins as far as competitiveness at that level. And there's probably a few more that I would slide in front of there. Quite a few more. But I'd rather this team be interesting. And, you know, miracle runs are fun. I would love that. A miracle team? Hell yeah. A couple of game notes here. Blue Melt. Kind of bugging me. And I've already said it, so I'm not going back on it. We need to give these guys time to work their way into the system because almost everyone showed that they struggle with it. That they're really, it takes time to really understand what we're trying to do defensively and build chemistry with the line mates. The problem is he's losing a bunch of board battles. He is a trigger man in the offensive zone, but he's missing the net like crazy. He turns the puck over a bunch. He's bad through the neutral zone. Like a lot of plays that are more indicative of just his individual ability and less the system are going very poorly. Again, with 2 games in. I'm so okay with while the injuries last, like giving him a second. But really tough. Really, really tough. And I saw some people that really liked the beginning of the game for him. I wonder if they liked the rest of it. I did not love what I'm seeing from Blue Mel right now. We'll see if he works his way out of it, but I think I'm going to be paying a little more attention to him going forward. This game was also a kind of red flag that this was predictable. The defensive assignments are going to be really struggling right now with so many bodies on the ice that are just trying to get used to the system. People are running into each other. They don't know who they're supposed to be covering. You see people yelling at each other, pointing. Zadorov's doing a great job of that, by the way, like pointing, like get the fuck over there. So we're going to see some messiness, and we saw some of it tonight. Obviously, the injuries are what's really causing that, because you're having to insert more bodies, and it leads to more frustration because you're losing winnable games. But the defensive coverages, I think you're just going to see more of this, where you're just confused as to what they're doing. They're all over the place, and we're all over the place in this one. God, I just really am frustrated. I'm bummed. I wish I wasn't feeling this frustrated about it. Like, this just so very winnable. And to lose this game in a very similar fashion to the way you lost last one, which is a late third period goal that puts them up. Just a bummer all around. That being said, not the end of the world. The Bruins are in a playoff spot, and everyone has games in hand. I get it, but they're very competitive right now, and that's what we want to see. They were competitive in this game even after going down a couple of goals. They found a way to fight back. I'm satisfied with that. I'm just falling into that trap of like getting my hopes up and really putting some of my eggs in that basket, and then just watching it kind of fall apart in front of me. Gonna have to work through these injuries. I think the reason the McAvoy one hits me so hard is that's the one that there's truly no replacement for. Like, Huzinov has done a great job stepping into the top line, even with some of the struggles he's had. Steves and Blumel, obviously not perfect, but you know, they've made it interesting up there. They've had some good moments. Aspero on the top pair is a death sentence. And I don't want to be too harsh on Aspero. Like, this isn't his fault. He shouldn't be playing there. But it's not like we have a lot of options, and Lohrei is still defensively finding a lot of ways to screw things up. So as much as I liked a lot of what Lohrei did tonight, there were still moments where I went like, dude, you can't do that. You just can't do that at this level. So just a lot of tough news right now with that, and I think the McAvoy one hits the hardest in my opinion. That's okay. We'll be better next game. Go Bees. Go Bees! Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video and joining me as we experience this crazy Bruins season together. The names popping up on your screen now are from the top line tier and the all-star tier of the YouTube membership program for this YouTube channel. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you who helps support the channel so that we can do more fun things, and I am always open to more ideas of how I can help give back to those who support the channel. At the end of the day, this channel is always going to be about the community, and I want to continue to grow that way, so please always feel free to reach out with new ideas and fun ways we can expand on this, or if you just need someone to talk to, I'm always here for you guys. Thank you all for your support, and as always, go Bees!